2023, Dune Part 2 will take fans back to Arrakis to tell the rest of the story. Legendary Entertainment confirmed the sequel after Dune Part 1 was an overall hit at the box office. They tweeted on October 26, 2021, quote, "This is only the beginning. We're excited to continue the journey." The first movie ended on a cliffhanger, and the fans are eager to return to Arrakis once again. It took decades for a proper adaptation of the classic 1965 science fiction novel Dune by Frank Herbert, and fans were satisfied with Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 1 after it premiered on October 22, 2021. The reviews were mostly positive by the critics for Dune Part 1, and the movie topped at the box office as well. Variety confirmed that during the opening weekend, Dune Part 1 earned $40 million, making it the highest-grossing movie in the US, even though Warner Bros. Released the movie on HBO Max the same day. Dune Part 1 has also gathered an impressive $220 million internationally. All these statistics signaled that Dune Part 2 was probably going to be made, but now we are sure that it will. The fans were even more relieved that Dune Part 1 tells only the first half of Herbert's story, and the rest of the book was saved for a sequel. Denis Villeneuve, the writer and director, said, quote, "It was a dream of mine to adapt Frank Herbert's Dune, and I have the fans, the cast, the crew, Legendary and Warner Brothers to thank for supporting this dream. This is only the beginning." Villeneuve initially wanted to film Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 back-to-back, the same way Peter Jackson made the Lord of the Rings movies, but his plan didn't work out, and so he chose to film half of the book and wait to see how it performed before being allowed the option to film the second half. As the first movie only covers one part of Herbert's book, in Dune 2, we could expect to see the second part on the big screen. Villeneuve said in an interview with Screen Rant that the sequel will be, quote, "more fun" and, quote, "more cinematic," but wasn't willing to share more details about the plot or the characters. So, if you want to know where the story might go, you can read in the books what happens next. And in terms of the movie, here's everything you should know about the future Dune sequel. Dune Part 1 was originally planned for release in December 2020, but because of the ongoing pandemic, it was pushed back to October 2021. Also, Dune Part 2 was pushed further from the initial plan to be released sometime in 2022. And since we all know that Dune Part 2 has to happen, the good news is that it is happening. The release date for Dune 2 is set for the 20th of October 2023, but considering the situation with the pandemic, we wouldn't be surprised if there's a new date. Speaking of Dune, the filming has to start and finish as fast as possible, because the post-production would most likely take a lot of time, as well as the magnitude and the rate of the movie are so crazy that even filming it isn't going to be easy for the crew in those situations. The production design and realistic effects included make these types of projects a lot more difficult than, for example, CGI-filled superhero movies. Still, those aesthetics and the extraordinarily realistic approach are the things that make Dune so epic. So, for all the fans who are impatiently waiting, it's best not to expect the movie sooner than October 20th, 2023. While we still don't have an official confirmation for the cast, it seems that most of them are returning, given their responses after the sequel was announced. We will see Timothée Chalamet return as Paul Atreides, and Zendaya, Cheney, will be his co-lead in the new movie. She will also have a bigger role this time, because at last, Paul met Cheney at the end of Dune Part 1. Quote, "I want to grow with the characters I play, and with the people that I get to learn from. Anybody who has read the books knows there's so much to explore and deal with," Zendaya said to Deadline. Other cast members who will be returning to the franchise include Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica, Javier Bardem as Stilgar, Dave Bautista as the Baron's nephew Glossu Raban, and Stellan Skarsgård as the villainous Baron Harkonnen. Bardem told Vanity Fair that his role will be bigger in the sequel and that it was expanded as part of Villeneuve's pitch to him. Villeneuve said, quote, "I have a small role, if there is such a thing. As the second part of the book, the role will be bigger, and I would love for you to do it if you want to." And I said, "Of course I want to. I don't care if there's a second movie or not," he recalled. But don't expect to see Oscar Isaac return as Duke Leto Atreides, Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, and Babs Oluseun-Mokoon as Jamis to return, since all of them were killed off in the first movie. Those who read the book know that there's a chance for Momoa to come back as Duncan Idaho, although later in the series. Perhaps Villeneuve will find a way to fit that part of the plot into the sequel. Joe Walker, the editor, hinted to Collider, quote, "Those who know the book know that Duncan Idaho, for example, reappears, so it's not over until the last lady sings." The future of Josh Brolin's Gurney Halleck and Stephen McKinley Henderson's Thufir Hawat remained uncertain after House Harkonnen's attack on Arrakis. As we mentioned earlier, the book readers will know what happened to them, but at the moment, we'll avoid the spoilers for the upcoming events. Also, some new faces will be joining the cast, like Baron's other nephew, Fade Routha, played by Sting in the 1984 movie, and the Emperor himself, who is supposed to appear in the new movie. Lastly, Lady Jessica's daughter, Aaliyah, will be born during the happenings in Dune Part 2. Since the first half of Frank Herbert's 1965 novel is covered in Dune Part 1, the second half will be covered in Dune Part 2, where the first movie ended. The upcoming sequel will start with Paul, Lady Jessica, and their new Fremen supporters beginning with a war to defeat the new overlords of Arrakis, House Harkonnen. Paul will start to realize his fate as the Kwisatz Haderach, the prophesized Messiah-like figure whom the Bene Gesserit predicted would bring peace to the planet. Additionally, Paul and Chani will have a son named Paul II. The story will start with Paul in a surprise attack on the Harkonnen spice production, which will interrupt the galactic spice market. The movie will make Emperor Shaddam Corrino IV directly intervene in the battle, officially uniting with the Harkonnen to end Paul and the Fremen. In the meantime, to become a Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother, Lady Jessica drinks the water of life, and because she is also secretly pregnant with Paul's sister Aaliyah at that point, Aaliyah is turned into an adult from the moment she's born because of the water of life. After Shaddam IV and Baron Harkonnen catch Aaliyah, Paul takes the Fremen in an assault on their stronghold, riding sandworms into the fight. Eventually, Paul makes Shaddam IV abdicate the throne and becomes an emperor himself. Although the Fremen is passionate in their dedication to the Kwisatz Haderach, they don't stop their religious jihad even after Paul becomes emperor. That plot has a possibility for more Dune sequels, but for now, we're excited to see Dune Part 2. The international recognition for a movie like Dune is a game changer, with more and more people finding out about the franchise, now staying calm since the full book will be filmed. It'll most likely gain larger profits and visibility. On a related note, tell us down in the comments below what are your thoughts on the upcoming sequel, and which character in Dune Part 1 has been your favorite? And what was the coolest thing you saw in the entire movie? Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.